Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link. 5 years ago, the Power of We Symposium was created to provide a platform for kids from all sectors where they could have a safe and comfortable environment in which to share both their joys and concerns. The Power of We Symposium is proud to have served over 250 kids throughout Romania when we took our mission global back in May of 2023. Now, 2 teams of amazing volunteers from both the U.S. and Romania embarked on an 8-day Legacy of Hope tour, bringing encouragement and hope to not only the kids of Romania, but also the adults who support them, and also to over 100 kids here in the U.S. who contributed handwritten letters of hope to our Romania mission of 2023. Now, this year, we are proud to provide this opportunity yet again in October, and we are super excited to up our game. New venue, 750 kids this time, and we want to see you there. We're looking forward to meeting you in person at this year's event, which promises, as always, incredible speakers, amazing content, and of course, some of the greatest kids on the planet. So, mark your calendars for October 24th, and we'll see you here in Chicagoland for the Power of We Symposium 2024. This year's theme is Always Together, Never Alone. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite or at powerofwesymposium.com.
your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I had to force that. I'm really exhausted. But you know what? I have hope. And I hope you have hope. I need it from you. You need it from me. That's why we're here, to have illuminated conversations. And when we come together, just like this, and in many other ways, when we come together, two or more, we enact the promise that spiritual magic will ensue. Can I get an amen? I'll kick it off. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Dr. Lauren. Oh, I said I'm exhausted. That's because, oh my goodness, how did I forget? It's been a year and a half since I did that first movie. I was in Atlanta Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, came back last night, filming the new movie, the second one. Thank you, God. Fatal Betrayal. Not kidding. Maybe it just felt that way, but like 15, 16-hour days. And then you have the things you have to do with them. But, oh, I had such a great time. I really did. I am very honored to be a part of it. And I got to see a bunch of people from high school that I have not seen since we graduated on graduation day, June 5th, 1980. Can you believe it? Right. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful weekend. I'm going to show you something really quickly before I share the broadcast right now. Here's why. Let me give you a hint. Jane Bromley's here today. And you know, I don't say expert because sometimes that's the person who studied something or they got certified. Doesn't mean they've lived it. But when I say they're an authority, that's because they lived it. That, to me, is who I look for this show. People who have lived what they talk about. And then they also live their own teachings. Right? Jane Bromley is an example of that. And I am dubbing this show, you see NOMAD inside because I wanted to get your attention in the promo. But here's what I really want from her today and why I want you to listen closely to Jane today. She has mastered, at a cost, there was an expense. It wasn't always this way, but she's got it now. How important it is to realize you have, need, or desire the freedom to choose. That's what I get from looking into her work and listening to her story. That she now is living her life of choice. I'm letting that just hang out there for a minute. Hopefully by the end of the broadcast, if you don't know now, you will understand why I'm letting it hang out there at the end. So get ready. She's going to be coming. But before we get Janie here real quickly, hold on. Let me just show you. I just have to because I promised them. What the heck? Okay. Hold on. What in the world? This has not happened in a month of Sundays. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, it's something with the internet, but that has not happened in months. I don't think we're in trouble, but bear with me in case it continues to happen. Let's not claim that, though. So look, you guys. Aw. I'm so excited. Aw. Those are twins up next to me at the top. Linda and Lisa Fowler. That was their names back then. These are all people. And there's Kim, who we were all celebrating her retirement from all these years in federal government in the Washington, D.C., Virginia area. And it was, look, it was just wonderful. It was wait, I don't know how to do this. Okay. I was just going to go through them. That's just all of us. Yes. We had so much fun. I'm going to be, why am I showing you this? And why is, because it's too long. I saw my number, my angel number on somebody's license plate, so I took a picture. I always capture that or try to. Let me tell you why I showed you those little clips right now about people from all the way back in 1980. Why was it, do you think, that I hadn't seen any of those classmates since June 5th, 1980? There were many chances where I could have come to, what are those things, reunions and whatnot, and I never did because of low self-esteem, unworthiness, and I felt like I don't know, I just didn't feel worthy, like I hadn't done anything in this world yet. Don't let that happen. Don't ever let that happen. Whatever you need to do to just be okay with who you are and where you're at any given moment, do it. Don't do like I did and lose decades of time with friends that you can never get back, okay? All right, let's get it going. Have you ever wanted to just pack up and leave? Or do you have a bucket list? I don't believe in bucket lists. It's okay to set destinations in your journey, but a bucket list, things you want to do before you die. No, Jane Bromley's here, and she's going to tell us how she got to the point. She is a burnout specialist, an authority, and she doesn't want any of us to wait until we've been singed or burned completely up in the fires of things that do not serve us. Let's put it that way. Put your hearts on the screen. She's coming down the hall. I hear her right now. Is she riding a horse? Hello, Jane Bromley, nomad and expert on burnout.
Hello, Dr. Lauren. How are you?
Burned out. Well, okay, I'm not burned out. I'm just a little bit exhausted. But that's not the same thing, is it?
No. In fact, that's a really, really good point, because a lot of people talk today about the fact that they think they're burnt out. And unfortunately, it's misleading, because when you really do hit that wall, then I'm going to be honest, I felt like I burnt to ashes. It felt like there was nothing left of me. And it was so challenging to get out of that I really want to help other people to realize the symptoms that they should look out for before they hit that wall, and how easy and how actually fun it is to choose your words, to choose to make sure that you choose your life.
I agree.
And it's funny, a lot of people think, well, it's all right for you, Jane, you're a nomad, you have a life where you can choose, and that's a normal thing. But actually, I work with people who are in full-time jobs, sometimes 2 jobs, and they are amazed at how quickly, in literally 2 weeks, they are feeling better because they're able to choose. And there's something in us that just needs to choose.
I agree. It's a birthright. And that's why we always see all the analogies and whatnot, the forks in the road, choose. And I say this, the reason I say choice is so important is because, let's face it, people, at the end of our journeys, there's going to be a choice. We're going to find out what we chose. You're going to either look to one side and see, I call them the 2 R's, and it's not railroad crossing. It is regret on one side, or will you rejoice on the other side? And so I don't think you should wait until you're standing in front of the sign or the doors. You should choose now so you can get there. It'll be a part of a plan, okay? So we're going to talk about that. But before we get truly into what happened with you, I'd like to give you 60 seconds I'm going to dip out for a second, give you the full screen, and let you just say hello to the audience. And, I don't really read bios anymore. I let people just create a vibe for themselves with the audience. And then I'll come back in and we'll officially get started. Sound okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All you.
So, morning, everyone. I used to work in the corporate world. I used to work in a job that was very, very intensive. Does that ring any bells with everyone? I used to feel I was on that treadmill where I was running all the time. If any of this resonates with you, then put a thumbs up or a heart in the comments. And literally, I got to the point of making some mistakes, but I didn't have a me to be able to tell me, hey, hello, watch out, these symptoms are dangerous. I didn't have that. And so I had this responsible job. I was proud of the work that I did. I did a good job and I did my best. But the problem was there was a cost, and it was me that was taking the cost.
So let's go here. Thank you for that, Jane. So let's go here. So people have a reference point. Okay. So you're in your job, your corporate job, which lasted for how many years?
Oh, well, until I became
I don't mean just the specific job, that company, but in that lane. How long were you in the corporate lane?
I was working in the corporate lane until I became a nomad.
How many years?
Don't get me wrong. I was, for the last 20 years, I had my own business, but I was still working with corporates and in the corporate lane.
So, and does it mean that, and I want people to understand this, and including you, Jane, when I say that, I don't mean just the actual building or the office or the cubicle. I mean, when the essence of it, the things that it has groomed, when you're trying to grow back the limbs that it chewed off, whatever the discourse was or the disconnect. I want to know this. At what point? So you say 20 years?
More than 20 years. Yes. Vodafone, Hewlett Packard, Microsoft, Intel, a whole lot.
Give me a number.
30. Okay.
I'm doing that so the people that are watching don't automatically exclude themselves. Okay. Oh, that's, this way you can see how long it took before Jane smelled the smoke of burnout. Because there are warning signs, signals, red flags, take your pick. So when was it, if you can remember? I'm sure you probably can. Can you pinpoint for us, Jane, when you first went, it was burning? Anybody smell that?
Yes.
What was it? What was the first warning sign?
The first warning sign was the fact that I noticed I couldn't relax easily any longer. And the second warning sign was the fact that when I was in a queue or when I had to do something that forced me to slow down for a bit, I was like, I didn't have enough patience any longer for it. So, and I think
right
a lot
there.
of people, yeah.
Let's start there. No patience. So what does that really mean? That means it could mean a lot of things. Short-tempered now, burning the candle at both ends. There are a lot of clever little phrases that we toss, or stickers that we put across those signs to justify them. And it's not just a mental thing. In many cases, it leads to physical ailments. Did you ever experience any of those?
Well, absolutely. And what happens is your prefrontal cortex is used to speaking to your pituitary gland, which talks to your adrenal glands. Now, your adrenal glands are what produce cortisol and adrenaline, and those are the things that get you moving, like you needed them this morning because of your really fabulous weekend. So without those, what happened to me is one day I woke up and there was no cortisol there, and I literally, for 16 hours a day, I slept. And I couldn't do anything else in the other 8 hours because the cortisol just came to a dead stop. And that's when it's too late. Okay.
Wait a minute. You said the word literally, but actually you said literally. But yeah, in our flat English over here, it's literally. No, but seriously, are you telling us that you're not embellishing, you're not blowing it out of proportion? Literally 16 straight hours of sleep.
Yeah.
That's almost comatose.
It is, and it was frightening, except that I was so exhausted that actually, and I hadn't allowed myself to realize how exhausted I was, that there was part of me that just went, oh, thank heaven I can just sleep. Because I couldn't fight it any longer. I couldn't go the extra mile any longer. I couldn't push through all those phrases that we use. My body just went, no, no, you're not doing it anymore. You cannot push any longer. And I almost scared to tell people how long it took me to get out of it because I don't want to scare people. But it's so quick if you catch it before you hit the wall.
Before you hit the wall. Now, I know there's somebody out there because it came running across my front yard. You said physically 16 hours. I mean, I've dealt with depression in my past and slept like that, couldn't move. But It wasn't because of a physical thing for me. It was depression. Did you at any point think that, or did people close to you, Jane's in bed for 16 hours. She's severely depressed, manically even. Talk about that.
People didn't say it about me because they didn't see me because I was asleep.
But your family and stuff. I mean, didn't people call or oh, Jane, you haven't picked up your newspapers out in the yard. What's going on? Wellness check. Is she dead in there? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think people didn't know what to make of it. That was the main thing that I got, and therefore people might have thought it was depression, but I didn't feel depressed at any stage. But I did have no energy. I was shivering and cold. I basically got, if anyone did call and I was too tired, I was seriously irritable because I didn't have the energy.
So how did you justify it to the people who knew you and said, this is not her? Well, I mean, there would be no such thing as interventions if people didn't, you know what I'm saying? So how did you get them off the scent of the smoke? How did you get them to not really be like freaked out? We need to go over there. Something's up with Jane.
Yeah, that's a good question. Why didn't they? I think my parents were just so used to me not being around that they didn't realize how bad it was until I started to get a lot better. I had some good friends who tried to come and help, but they didn't know what to do. And even the doctor, I went to my doctor. This was several months later when I could actually get out of bed. I went to my doctor and I said, I feel like a battery that no longer recharges. And he said, yep. He said, I know what that is. You've burnt out. He said, but he said, I'm really sorry. There's nothing much I can do to help you.
There's not a pill. There's not an elixir. You can't go to the gym and get a trainer to bring you back from burnout. But let's talk about this. You and I talked about this in the discovery call before we booked you. And I'm referring to how the term has become so lackadaisical. The term burnout, do we really know what the definition is? And is it different for every person?
So burnout gets to the point where those three, the pituitary gland, the prefrontal cortex, and the adrenal glands stop communicating effectively.
Literally.
So literally, yeah. So you can have it in two different ways. You either have pretty much no cortisol, so you have cortisol at the wrong time of the day. So if you've ever found that you go to bed and that you in the middle of the night you are hyper and you're all wound up, that's because your cortisol is actually really all over the place. And it's because your nervous system has two ways. It has the sympathetic nervous system, which was designed for when there were polar bears and tigers. Okay, it was designed to give us a lot of power to run away for half an hour or whatever. But then after the half an hour, you're supposed to be able to go back into what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, where you can sleep, where you can relax, where you can heal, your body can heal, and where that peace and that joy and that well-being sense comes from. But the problem is with our lifestyle today, we're with so much stress and so much pushing through, so much going the extra mile, that as a result, what happens is we get stuck in that fight or flight, that sympathetic nervous system. And it means that when you go to the point and go, I want to relax now, you can't. And you want to sleep. Oh dear.
Let me ask you something.
Or you sleep.
Okay. All right. Let's go here. Because I'm trying to just rip the Band-Aid off, if you will, or expose this mystical character. It's almost like an apparition, burnout. But here's why. Now, I've never heard a doctor say burnout to me, although I know I've experienced it. So I'm saying, here's where I'm going. Is it a term? Is it terminology, or is it a literal medical diagnosis? Burnout. Is it a medical diagnosis? Because you said your doctor told you, oh, you're suffering from burnout. So what was his course of action as far as a plan to bring you back?
He He didn't have a plan of action. He said, you can go and get a bottle of Floradix that will get you some vitamins and minerals that you need, and then go back to bed. And the only other thing he told me to do is
go back to bed.
Yeah. And then he said, when you've got enough energy, try to go for a walk for at least 10 minutes every day. And I think that was good advice, but that was it. And then several years later, when I had done everything, gone to nutritionists, tried everything I could think of to change, to find out what was wrong and what I could do about it, I went back to him, and they then said that there was a group in a hospital where you went once a month or something, once a week, you went to this hospital thing, and they got you to do a whole variety of things. So they got you to notice what took your energy. They got you to look at the grief cycle, because it is grief, and there's other powerful emotions. I felt shame. I don't know why I felt shame, but I felt shame that I hadn't got my life together.
Were you still working?
I couldn't.
So what did you tell your job? I ain't coming in this week or month because I'm sleeping 16 hours a day.
So I had been a permanent employee until the early part, until about 20 something years ago. And then I ran my own company, working with the leadership teams of corporations, some big corporations all around the world. So I just had to cancel my projects.
Why did you go to a medical doctor? Just curious. What made you go to a medical doctor? What were you hoping to get from that or gain from that, as opposed to, let's say, a counselor or a therapist? What made you think it was physical over mental?
Okay, the lack of energy, the fact that I was cold, the fact that there was so many, I just was dragging my body around. I wasn't depressed.
Right.
There was no depression there.
So you thought it was iron deficiency, any number of things, but never thought it's that burnout from work.
No, exactly. Well,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So the doctor tells you take this and go back to bed or whatever. Where did you find the fire extinguisher that put the fire out, that started this blaze?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was by choice. Okay. So that was, yay. So and to be honest, the choices were things like, I can do this. I believe in myself. Okay. I am going to find what is lacking from my nutrition diet. I am going to find out what is happening here, because I want to have a life that feels really good. I want to have enough energy to do the sailing, the horse eventing, the traveling, the hiking, and all the things that I had used to love, which I now do lots of. And I couldn't do them for a while. So as a result, I actually felt that it was, the choices were great. And now what I'd love to do is I love to help people choose those choices before they go through. You use the expression of third-degree burnout, and that's quite dramatic. I think I prefer burnt to ashes, because then you get the opportunity to hopefully become.
Well, you know why though? I'm gonna tell you why I chose that personally, and because, again, in my opinion, another bastardized image, i.e., Phoenix rising from the ashes. You know, people just will say, and there's 1,000 books or more, but I tell you this, I guarantee you there's more headstones in the graveyards, in the cemeteries, than there are books about it from people who made, you see what I'm saying? I think there are more casualties than we could ever know. That's why I don't like putting that thing up there that people say, oh, I know what that is. Johnny know-it-all. So when you say when I say to you all out there, and to myself, I'm not excluding myself, third-degree burnout, it's because I want to see the image of the worst burn scenario.
Yes.
And apply it to something. I can go, uh-oh. Here's why. I want to ask you something. I wrote it down. First of all, do you have I believe you do, but I want to hear from you. Do you have a belief system, like a higher power?
It's evolved interestingly since this. So I don't. So I'm very spiritual, and the spirituality has grown and has really helped me, and has helped me to allow myself to heal. And notice those words, allow myself to heal, because a lot of this is about self-love. A lot of this.
Permission.
Yes. And a lot of the reason why the people who burn out are the ones who are proud of their job, but they don't necessarily set themselves up to make it as easy for themselves as they could.
Do you
And
think
they
they're
have,
perfectionists for the most part?
well, definitely.
They don't want people to see that they can't do that. Oh, she's slipping. She's not like she used to be. She's lost her mojo. Take your pick.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So here's why I asked about your higher power thing. It's a really interesting thing. And thank you for being so forthright about, well, it's my spirituality has grown as a result. Because in order to pick up something better, we have to be willing to release those things that no longer serve us. And so that's that choice. I'll drop this off so I can pick that up. So I want to ask you this. What do you say to people? Did you hear a voice at any point, Jane, when you were being led towards that choice? Some people show forks in the road, that kind of thing. What did you hear or see or feel that said, listen, Jane, if you don't choose differently than your current choice, there will be repercussions? I think we all get that heads up, that call from the 911 center in the universe that says, you better change something or else. How did that sound, look, or feel for you?
It's the only way it sounded is it was so painful, and it was such a dead end that I got stuck down, that I knew that something had to change and that there was no one else that was going to get me out. I didn't have the calling, but interesting enough, one of the reasons I didn't have the calling, I think, is because we block ourselves from all of the guidance that we can potentially have. And it's only been since I started to choose to look after myself and prioritize myself better and be my best friend, etc., that I have allowed what is within us all, that sense of being really deeply loved, that sense of being guided, that inner guidance system that is just wonderful and has the ability to heal us all, but we don't allow it in. We have these preconceptions that no, I'm a little person and I don't deserve it, and it's such a crying shame.
It is. Let's talk about this. All of us, or most of us at least, at some point of our lives have seen inside of a doctor's office or someplace that little thing hanging on the wall, a poster, if you will, with smile or different faces, like smiley faces. And they say, rate your pain from this to that. What I get the feeling that there is no chart where people say my burnout is at this level, because it's such a denial thing. No one wants to admit that. No one wants to admit I'm suffering from burnout. I think that's what they used to refer to. Remember back in the day, Jane, they used to say, oh, did you hear about so-and-so? She had a nervous breakdown. I think it's the same thing. I think it's the same thing.
Partly it's because people are scared. They don't understand it and they're scared that they might go there. And people don't, because it's a sign. People feel that they've failed, and no one wants to feel they've failed. It's a horrible feeling.
What about this? Did you ever experience this physical warning sign? Panic attack.
Indeed, to the point where the day before I was going in and I was going to be working with a team on behalf of the chief executive of the company, the guy chose to scream at me down the phone the evening before. And normally this is a really good sign. This is because normally I would have just said, I'm really sorry, but this isn't going to work. This has to be a partnership of respect. And instead, my nervous system was so tight that I hyperventilated. I just hyperventilated, and it took me ages to come out because my poor nervous system was just in such a bad way.
Wow. Okay, so let's go into the healing side. Okay, we've laid it out there. If you or someone you know is within this potentially dangerous and devastating space, then you should already know that by now. Maybe not, but we hope you will if you don't. But if you do, now we want to talk about the solution. Okay.
Before before you do that, you don't happen to have the screen, the picture I sent you with the list of symptoms so people can see them. Have you?
I can find them maybe.
Okay, thank you.
Someone else is supposed to load that, but I wasn't here. So where'd you send it? Do you remember? I looked in your messenger today for stuff and there was nothing in there. Did you email it?
Messenger last week, yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Will you talk for a second? I'm going to look.
Series of photographs, including.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Okay. Keep talking. I'll find it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So the thing I really want people to know is what to look out for before they hit that wall, because I was full power working. I thought that by balancing that by having a good time out of the time, so I was doing lots of sport, I was racing dinghies, I was eventing horses. It sounds a bit overkill, doesn't it? And that's one of the symptoms. If you suddenly notice that you're suddenly trying to become Superwoman or Superman, then it's a sign that actually you are pumping cortisol and adrenaline, which is a really bad sign.
Excuse me 1 second. I'm looking in Messenger, and because I thought I did that this morning. I did. It's not there. So you must have sent it somewhere else. Any idea? Did you email it by chance? I remember seeing it, but it's not in this.
Sent it to you on Friday. It's messaged that it starts with a picture of a fire. Then the second one.
I remember seeing it, but they're not there now. That's my point. I don't. Anyway, okay. That's for the sake of time. I'll keep looking, but take us through what each of them stood for, because I know it was a road to something.
I've tried to just resend you the picture of the symptoms.
Okay, just speak them out if you could.
Yes. Okay. Why didn't I think of that? Okay. So on edge, far more than before. Okay. Feeling drained and exhausted. If any of these symptoms are you, then please don't do what I did. Life feels like a treadmill and you're just like, will this ever stop? You're more irritable than you used to be. I was so horrible to call centers because I just didn't have the energy to cope with them. Finding it hard to relax and feel peaceful. What you just said, overreacting more than before. So the panic attack.
Let's take that a little further. Relaxing, but what about sleep patterns? Big change there as well?
Absolutely. And the biggest one, I think, is that you wake up in the morning and even if you have slept well, you're like, but I don't feel refreshed. Why don't I feel refreshed? Why isn't my sleep working for me any longer? Alternatively, you either get to the point where you can't go to sleep, or you do what I did. I used to crash at night. I was so exhausted, but then 4 hours later, ding! I'm wide awake. Because what happens is if you're in fight or flight, your nervous system only allows you to sleep for 4 hours at a time.
Yes.
Okay. And actually it got worse after that. There were times when I only slept for an hour at a time or 2 hours at a time. And we all know that you have to sleep for a certain amount of time before your body can really heal. And
here's the dangerous part about that. A lot of people, when they can't sleep, it starts off, they reach for Unisom or some sleep aid, Somninex, take your pick. And then it doesn't work. It might give a little temporary thing, but you still don't get that full, jug that you need. And then people start, well, let me get this. Oh, doctor, give me trazodone or something like that. And it keeps on going when it's masking the core issue, like so many other things that get out of hand like a wildfire. So you guys, I'm going to put them on the screen. Take us through these if you could, Jane.
Okay. So on edge, if you're feeling on edge, it's a horrible feeling. So rather than feeling peaceful, you're feeling on edge. You're feeling like you're dragging your body around. You're drained and exhausted. You wake up in the morning and you're like, I just want to go back to bed. This horrible feeling of life, the fun's gone out of life. It's just like a treadmill. So monotonous. I actually lost a friend because I was more irritable. And she was a really good friend. It was just a symptom. And this horrible thing of I went to try and relax and I went to try and find that lovely sense of peace, but it wasn't there. I couldn't get there any longer. Okay, overreacting. I mean, the panic attack was and the hyperventilating was extreme. But I noticed all sorts of times where little things would happen, and rather than just allowing them to go and not be bothered, things were starting to bother me because my nervous system was so tense.
Things that ordinarily you could just let roll off your back, now all of a sudden they were. Were you going? Remember, we've heard the term from 0 to 60, or from, you know what I mean, in no time flat. Just knee-jerk reaction instead of responding.
Yes, exactly. And knee-jerk reactions, but things at work, for instance, things that used to not really bother you, suddenly everything seems to be annoying you. And I heard someone say yesterday about a woman who was getting annoyed because she had to stop for fuel, for petrol, and because she's so driven that when she has to stop for fuel, that she cannot slow down for the normal things. And there's the slowing down, but there's the fact that we used to take pleasure in pausing, and all of a sudden we're trying to turn ourselves into machines, and human beings make useless machines. AI will outstrip us easily, because our power comes from being human, and human beings are like things in nature. We need to pause. We need to feel good. We need to
center.
Absolutely to center.
We need to recharge. You're absolutely right. I want to ask you this. Hit the one about the fun being gone. Joy, fun. I think I'm just saying, I wish they would use the word joy instead of fun. Because a lot of people think fun is going to the bingo hall or going to an exhibit or whatever. Yeah. But joy can be found in your own bedroom, in your own yard, looking at a sunset, a memory. But if you can't find any joy anywhere, it means that for some reason your gratitude center has shut down. And so how do you feel about that?
Well, that's because of this nervous system thing. Joy comes from being in the parasympathetic. So it's like once you pause, once you have choice, once you do things, and this is a really good tip, even if you don't feel you've got a lot of time, look for things that give you joy and do them more, because they actually feed your pituitary gland. They feed your adrenal glands. They're like gold dust. And the joy is so wonderful. But the problem is that when you're stuck in the sympathetic nervous system, when you're stuck in fight or flight, your body it's too focused on where's the tiger? Where have I got to run?
Right, because fight or flight is for in the moment.
Yeah.
Choose now without thinking. Go. It's instinctual. It is built into us. Yeah. Right? That's why I tell people one of the beautiful things about that, the parasympathetic and fight or flight, is that if fear is legitimate, your life should be in danger. Did something, so get out of here now. Usually, if that doesn't happen, it is the acronym false evidence appearing real. You see what I'm saying? It's so important. This all ties in, people. So, Jane, what about this? So when you were in bed for 16 hours a day, I'm assuming, and I don't want to assume, that you were in your home.
I was.
In the town where you lived or whatever. Not a nomad yet.
Village, yes.
Okay.
I didn't have energy. I couldn't have traveled. Even traveling, even for half an hour, exhausted me for hours.
So before your burnout, how often would you say you took a vacation or traveled and received the joy you get from it today?
I did. I had holidays. I was good at holidays. My parents have always traveled. I was good at holidays, and it's funny because we think as long as we take holidays, it will be enough. So I probably had at least 6 weeks of holiday a year.
Okay, but that doesn't mean you found the joy that you have today. A lot of people, I didn't realize how bad I was at. I'll tell you this real quick. At that, until we went to Mexico. To our house there one year for Christmas, or right after Christmas. We leave the day after Christmas till New Year's. And I left my phone in the Uber. So I had 2 weeks with no phone. I had my laptop. But boy, was that a godsend. Because
Yes.
where it would usually take me half of the vacation to get out of work mode, or at least put it in a corner, this time I had no choice. I had a choice, but I chose better. Because it helped me along. So let me ask you, but were you really understanding the need of the vacation or holiday before burnout?
Well, it's funny you said that, because about 10 years before I actually officially burnt out so badly, I had a very similar experience. I used to ride horses. I still do from time to time, but I ended up with concussion, and we were going on holiday, and I couldn't do all the activities and rush and the things I would normally do on holiday. I sat on a bench and did nothing for 2 weeks, and you know what? It felt great. So yeah, I understood the need, but what I didn't understand was how much more of a need. How I thought that 2-week holiday or a week holiday would be enough, and that should be enough, because after all, I was a machine, wasn't I? Which is a load of crap. Trees lose their leaves all winter so that they can actually shine all summer. We are natural beings. We need that power. We need to be inspired. We need, it's the pauses, it's the silence, it's the moments where we let everything go and allow ourselves to live our life our way, that give us the ability to be wonderful and give us the ability to shine. And that's what I love helping people. I don't just take them so they back away, but actually I take them to the point where they define their life. They define the life that will bring them joy. Because you know what? Everyone says, oh, I've got too many responsibilities. I've got a family. But when you're living your life your way, which you can do with your current job, with your current situation, but when you're living and you're choosing the things that bring you joy and the balance that feels good, then you are the best example for your children. Because surely you want your children to be living their life that way.
True enough. However, there's a person that's sitting there right now going, well, that's easy for you to say, Miss Jane. Clearly, you don't have 5 children in middle school, college, or toddlers. Or you're not the single woman that I am who has a mother next door that's elderly and I have to keep an eye. I'm chained to my life, Jane. So what do you tell clients that make their way to you and they think that burnout means throw out, that they're no good anymore? And how do you help them rediscover things that bring them joy within their current situation, in those places they cannot do anything about because of their responsibilities? A lot of people don't know how to do internal joy or immediate proximity joy. They think it's somewhere else. It's in Cancun. It's in Paris. It's on a yacht. You see, it's on the golf course. How do you help people find it where they're at?
I help them find it by a series of questions. I take them through. And by the way, just so that you know, my mother had Alzheimer's. I spent the year until September of last year looking after her. I totally relate to how incredibly challenging that is, not just from a time and exhaustion
that could be burnout too.
Yeah, no, it really.
Caregivers get overlooked if you ask me.
Yeah.
That, you know?
Yes, no, they do. I think you're right.
Exactly. Okay, go ahead.
And most of my clients, for instance, take I call her Julie to protect her name, but she's got 2 children. She's got a husband who's got a really full-time. She's got a really senior role, and she is looking after everyone, including her customers came before her. And so it was more important for her to feel that she was doing a good job and that she was looking after her customers than it was for her to look after herself. And I knew her for 2 years before she allowed me to help her, which was a crying shame. And the second of those years, she had every illness going. She had colds. She picked up everything that was going.
It leads to all that dis-ease. We manifest most of the things. I mean, there are chronic things and inherited things, but there are also, if not more, things that we create of our own doing. And if you're a believer, the promise says that no weapon formed against us. It says nothing about weapons that we create of our own choice and use on ourselves. And I believe that's why I said earlier, That's why there's so many people in the graveyard from burnout. It leads to hypertension. It leads to heart attacks. But people always, oh, he had a heart attack. Oh, she had a stroke. Or when really, if you follow the footprints back to when they first walked in, it's in moments like these. So let me ask you this. Here's a new one. I'll pop this back on the screen. And I want you, based on what we're showing them, the tips, how do we bring that to someone's attention? We might not be the person suffering from burnout, but someone we care about or love is. How do you get these things in front of them in a way that their dukes don't go up and they say, well, maybe I should take a look at this?
Well, the way I would, okay, so it's interesting because it's one thing how I would do it, and it's another thing for someone who hasn't been dealing with lots and lots of people. But if it was me and if it was my friends, I would actually be saying something like, do you know, I heard from a lady the other day that people actually are actually, they're finding really fast ways to feel better, and they don't have to actually be continually on this treadmill. There are fast ways, and I've heard that in 2 hours flat, someone can actually be feeling such relief, and in 2 weeks they are feeling so much better, and they're going. So for instance, this lady Julie I just told you about, within 2 weeks she had delegated, she had found a way for her life, and she had found a way to clear some space, and she was just transformed. She reduced her workload from 100 and something% down to 80%, so she had 20% free. And I would be telling stories like that, and I would be saying, and not just did they feel so much better in 2 weeks, but I've heard stories of people who went through a fun program, and within 9 weeks they were thriving and they were feeling the best that they'd been in decades. And
there you go. That's important. We got a few minutes left, just like 4, and I want to hit this beforehand. My ears perk up when someone brags about how close they are to retirement. They must not know that statistics prove that people who claim retirement, have the parties and this and the other, the greater portion of them, I think it's something like 40 to 50%, have died within the first 6 years of retirement. Okay. Now, do you think that if, when you say when you can't wait to quit doing what you're doing, is that a pretty good indicator that you're not navigating within joy, doing things that bring you joy, that they're taking from you, nibbling away one bite at a time?
Your audience knows the answer to that question.
I know.
They absolutely do. They know inside them, they absolutely know that this is a crap way to live, and that they deserve better. It's fear that keeps them there. But to be honest, if they can choose to believe in themselves and they want to be living the life that they always wanted to, you can do it where you are. It's amazingly good. I take people through a simple 5-step process that allows them to become their best friend, that allows them to pinpoint the things that will give them joy every single day, so that they enjoy every single day. And as a result, they then pull apart the things that are most challenging, and they find really good ways through it. And within a week, they've like, gosh, why didn't I do this years ago?
Exactly. That's the key right there. Do it. Cut it off at the pass. Jane, we got to get out of here. But before we go, I want to ask you, what is the most efficient way for people to get to you, in case they would like to talk to you about potentially working with you on eliminating that smoke leading to complete burnout?
On my Facebook page, they can send me a messenger message. I think you've got the link. I can send it again if you want.
For your Facebook.
Yes. So my Facebook thing, and also I think you've got the link. In May, I'm running one of those 9-week programs, and I'm only going to be taking small numbers because I just like dealing with people on an individual small basis. Okay. And in that, it will be fun, and you'll learn so many good things, and it will make such difference. So there you go. You can either go directly to this link, or alternatively, have you got the other link of the program? And you can go
I'm
and
just
look
going to
at
give
the
them
link.
that. They can go over there and get
me,
into Messenger
and
with
I
you.
will be very happy.
Jane, I have dropped that link inside of the chat.
Yes,
the
it
comment
becomes
section
me
for everybody, so that you guys will just have to click on it and go over.
Great.
We're out of time, but Jane, I want to let you know this is a excuse me, this is a pretty big and very important conversation to continually have. Don't be selfish just because you might not think it applies to you. Look around in the front row seats of your life. People that are sitting there should be people you care about to the nth degree. Make sure you don't smell smoke of burnout coming from somewhere around them. And if you do, give them this information. They'll thank you later. Jane, thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for sharing with us. And where are you at in the world right now, Nomad?
I'm in Mexico at the moment. I'm actually, that might not sound a long way for you, but I come from France. I'm based in France now, and I'm actually going down to Chiapas in the south next week. And
Nice.
Chiapas is full of gorges and waterfalls and everything. And I've been to Colombia and Ecuador. I've been to loads of different countries. But actually, I really think that people can feel as much joy in their current lives as I do. And then you get to really enjoy your holidays as opposed to trying to recover.
Right. And not just take a shell with you. Take the entire person, right? Take everything you are and everything you could ever hope to become with you everywhere you go. Jane Bromley, thank you so much. What an honor. And listen, you guys, what an honor. Thank you so much. If you're watching the replay or live, I love you. Thank you so much for being here. I couldn't do this without you, nor would I want to. It's all about choice. Don't wait until you feel you don't have any. Choose today. What is your desire? What is the quality of the rest of your journey that you'd like to have? And how does what you're doing now, how much time, how much freedom, how much love does it allow you to use to ease suffering in the world? If we can't take care of ourselves, we can't take care of anyone else. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Take that with you. Have a divine day. As in always, when we get out of here, I say I love you, and I mean it. There's not a damn thing you can do about it. I hope to see you tomorrow, God willing, right over there on the front porch as together we share another illuminated conversation right here on Bathrobe Moments. Have a great day, everybody. Jane, thank you so much. Great job. Great job. Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow.